So the big story which we're breaking right at the top of Viewpoint tonight is on that infamous Augusta Westland VVIP chopper deal. It was a deal which had taken place during the UPA years, and it was suggested that thousands of crores had exchanged hands. And it was also suggested that some bigwigs within the UPA establishment had been beneficiaries. Now look at what's happened. An Italian court, the country from where this entire case originated, Italian court has refused to extradite the individual who was described as the key middleman in this case, Carlos Gerosa. The Italian investigations had pointed out that there was a link, that Gerosa was the individual who was responsible for paying off bigwigs within the defense establishment here, including top babus in the defense ministry. The CBI said that they had proof. They even showed a money trail. That money trail was presented before the Italian courts. The Italian courts had outrightly rejected that entire investigation which was done by the Indian authorities, and they had said that India has no case. Still, India insisted. Gerosa was arrested by Italian authorities in the month of October on the basis of an Interpol red corner notice. The CBI sends an extradition request to Italy in the month of November. CBI still insisting that they will take up the matter with higher authorities in Italy. But here's where the case stands, folks. There is a court order which has been delivered in Italy which outrightly makes the point that there is no case Indian investigators have. The Italian court went to the extent of saying that the Indian agencies even failed to provide any evidence to back up the claims that this was indeed a case which was not just a straightforward transaction, but a transaction which was a scam case. Making matters worse for the Indian agencies now to back up their claims is that a joint team of the CBI and Enforcement Directorate which went to Dubai to try and investigate the other key middleman in this case, Christian Michel, hoping that Mr. Michel will be able to throw some light. Mr. Michel has also taken this position that he has nothing else to say other than what he has already stated. He has said this on record in multiple interviews with CNN News 18 itself, that he has nothing to hide, and this was a deal in which there was no scam whatsoever. So the question is this: there a case in which a former Air Chief Marshal S.P. Tyagi was sent to jail, a case in which this suspicion was created that this was the biggest defense scam of our times. How is it that investigations are now reaching a complete dead end in this particular case? Full panel joining us to answer that question: Dr. Rajiv Tyagi, a cousin of Air Chief S.P. Tyagi, Julie Tyagi's brother, someone who went to jail. He's joining us live at the top of this program. Narendra Taneja, representing the Bharatiya Janata Party. Ilario Piagnarelli, an Italian journalist, is joining us live from Rome. Ghanshyam Tiwari, representing the Samajwadi Party. Welcome to all of you. Just want to get the facts of the case first. Ilario, just explain to me this decision which has been taken by the Italian court to refuse the extradition request of India. Do we know on what precise grounds this request from India of extradition has been rejected?
Well, I think what needs to be understood here is that this Italian citizen, Carlo Valentino Gerosa, he's a dual citizen. He has an Italian citizenship and a Swiss citizenship. And the two countries have never signed a bilateral agreement on extradition. In addition to this, with the fact that Switzerland is not part of the European Union. So there is no bilateral agreement. Switzerland is not part of the European Union. And in this case, I think we are talking about the extradition of a defendant, of a person that is only accused and not convicted yet. So the handover by the Swiss authorities, the handover by Italy to India, despite the fact that this citizen is also a Swiss citizen, would be a huge diplomatic blow between the two countries.
But is it just diplomacy? But Ilario, is it just diplomacy? Because when the Italian court, which was investigating this matter, gave its judgment, the court was very, very clear and forthright. The court said that the Indian agencies, the Indian government had failed to provide evidence to back up their claims that this was a scam despite multiple requests. Would this not be looked at by those who were accused here in India, who also were sent to jail? Will this not be looked at by them as perhaps a huge help in their favor?
As far as I know, this person, Gerosa, is still under preliminary investigation in Italy, so he's not on trial yet.
Okay.
Only his business partner, the Italian-American, also operating a business in Switzerland, Guido Asce, only him has been convicted because he opted for the expedited judgment, and he has been let go with, I think, less than 2 years of sentence.
Okay.
So even the Italian authorities, the Italian tribunal in Messina is still investigating this person. So there's another reason why they might be not okay with handing him over to India.
Okay.
That's the situation at the moment as the way I read it.
Okay. Dr. Tyagi, let me turn then to Rajiv Tyagi. Rajiv Tyagi is the brother of Julie Tyagi. Julie Tyagi was sent to jail in this case. He was described as one of the key individuals who was involved in this entire scam. And look at what's happening now, Dr. Tyagi. Does this development, Ilario says this is diplomacy, but I'm trying to understand whether behind the diplomacy also there is some fact which is now appearing that maybe there was no scam. Was this really a scam or not, Dr. Tyagi?
See, from the first day we had been maintaining, when we were called on the first day in March 2013, that as so far as we are concerned, we have got nothing to give and take with this case. But CBI and we gave them all the papers on the first day itself. They have filed a charge sheet after 5 years. You can see it for yourself. In 5 years, in Italy, they have done the lower court, that is at Busto Arsizio, then High Court at Milan, then Supreme Court, which negated the High Court judgment, and then a retrial was ordered, and the retrial cleared the entire bribery corruption angle, and the speaking order has come on the 8th January 2018.
Right.
Thank you very much for at least giving us an opportunity. You see, 33,000 page charge sheet has been filed after 5 years, and the hearing has not started as yet. The charge sheet does not give even 30 words against us. All the charges that they made against us were of 4,05,000 euros, which was received in 2004 and 2005 February, which came through the banking channels, which was given to the CBI the same day on 2013, and which was 5 years before the order was given and even 2 years before the tenders came.
Okay. So
4,05,000 euro works out to be 2.28 crores.
yes.
They were talking of 85 crores given to us.
Yes.
And Government of India made their entire case on the case was started in Italy. You would remember.
Yes.
And all the pages, about 1 lakh pages, came to India from Italy when Government of India, Ministry of Defence became a party. You must remember, Ministry of Defence, Government of India was a party. And on every hearing, at every level in the court's decision making, Government of India was represented by a lawyer called Mr. Carlotti. And Mr. Carlotti extensively examined all the accused.
So I'm just trying to understand. Tyagiji, I'm just trying to understand. Therefore, Tyagiji, I'm just trying to understand, Tyagiji, and I'm trying to connect dots here. A joint team of CBI and Enforcement Directorate goes to Dubai to try and make the other key accused in this entire case, Christian Michel, who was again looked at as this individual who was flying in and out, meeting big wigs here. Christian Michel says, I have nothing to add, I have said what I have said, and I have nothing to do with this scam. There is an Italian court judgment which has already come, which has not been officially given to the Indian authorities as yet, despite the judgment having now been given for well over 3 months. Are you all now basing your entire future strategy on this Italian court judgment, on the refusal of Italian authorities to hand over Carlos Gerosa here and even Christian Michel? Is this going to be the basis of your arguments henceforth, Dr. Tyagi?
No, not at all. Whether it is Christian Michel or Carlo Gerosa, we have got nothing to give and take. In legal terms, there is a term called res judicata. If there is a similar case which is examined in two countries by their legal system, and if one gives a judgment, and in this particular case this started in Italy, so it didn't start in India, it started in Italy based on Italian papers and based on Italian investigations, and that judgment has come. So our story is that we have been always maintaining that we are innocent.
So you are innocent. You are being framed.
About 700
Narendra Taneja.
2000 to
let me get the BJP then involved, sir. You are saying you are innocent. You are saying you've been framed. Now, Narendra Taneja, on one hand there is Nirav Modi who has run away. There is Vijay Mallya who's not coming back. On the other, you have this case where the key accused are all here. And look at what's happening. The Italian courts are just not in agreement with the investigation which have been done so far. What does one make out of this, Mr. Taneja? Was this just a frame up then at the end of the day? Is there genuine solid proof or not, Mr. Taneja?
No, the point here is that first of all, as far as NDA government is concerned, in this particular case it has to be fair, investigation which is going on. You see, it's nothing to do with any kind of the UPA or Congress witch hunting and all that. It's just fair investigation. But let me Bhupen point out one thing. What did the Italian court, say about this thing? Italian court, with regard when the Congress was in power 2013, 2014, what did they say? The government of India didn't provide adequate evidence.
Yes.
That's what they said. So, that means the court itself is admitting that probably the government didn't provide. Maybe they did it deliberately. Congress party that time. Deliberately.
Let me
shelter
correct
some
you.
people.
Let me correct you. Listen. Let me correct you. The Italian court judgment, the final judgment, sir, which was given, which I am looking at, it said very clearly that the Indian establishment, Indian agencies did not provide, adequate evidence to back up their claims. And Indian authorities now, when the BJP came to power, not when the Congress was in power, sir. This is now. We're not talking about the UPA judgment.
No.
UPA's judgment.
No, listen. No. But you see, when you look at the entire chain and, when you start building the narrative, it all started during the Congress time. You see, when you build a narrative, if the very foundation of the narrative, in a legal case, in a legal system, when the very foundation of the narrative has been deliberately kept weak because they didn't provide the sufficient, evidence, then, since we came to power, we started building it up, providing whatever information was required. But if you look at the very bottom of the whole thing, it seems that Congress didn't provide the information,
I'm just not clear. I think Mr. Taneja is not willing to accept this. Mr. Taneja is not willing to accept this because, Ghanshyam Tiwari, the facts of the case are very, very clear. And Rajiv Tyagi, we can take what Rajiv Tyagi says with a pinch of salt because he happens to be an accused brother. Therefore, he will make that point, be that as it may. But Ilario is there, and I'm only looking at exact facts of the case. The facts of the case are that the Italian court judgment, the final judgment which was delivered by the Italian High Court, states very clearly that the Indian agencies now, as in now, within this NDA regime, did not, despite multiple reminders, send adequate information, adequate evidence to back up their claims. So why should this question not be raised that maybe this is another case which is headed the 2G way?
Well, because this is a pertinent question, and BJP has shown in 2G case that what they take as political narrative is different from where they act. In the 2G case, the judge clearly said that the agencies did not provide enough evidence. He waited from morning to evening and nobody turned up. Similarly, in the Italian case, the court is saying that agencies did not provide adequate evidence. But BJP is very, very prompt in building a political narrative. When a corruption case comes against Congress, and it came in 2013, Congress went into hiding. But when a similar case comes against BJP with a broad chest says, so what? Look at how BJP has reacted to this simple RTI on Amit Shahji's, the bank where he's a director, on Notebandi where 750 crores were collected in the first 5 days. The entire BJP is standing with a wider chest and say, so what? It is all right. And that is how BJP reacts. So it's a difference between political strategy. It is clearly BJP is not interested in corruption. They are interested in the political,
so this was all
political vote bank of corruption that they create because they can shout the loudest.
You must answer this, Taneja, before I go to Ilario and Rajiv Tyagi. You all made so much of political song and dance, so much of political hype was created when this scam first came to light. Now when you are in power, this is your golden opportunity. You should have gone in and you should have got hold of the big fish. But increasingly I am seeing the big fish is all being let off, if at all they were the big fish. Taneja ji, how can you convince our viewers that indeed justice will be done here, sir?
No, no. You see, the point is, if you are saying a golden opportunity, that's not how we look at these things.
Why?
Golden opportunity means for us to kind of get some political mileage out of it. No. It's a case. It's been going on before we came to power, and there our agencies are working on it, and this will be taken to the logical conclusion. And without, it's very important in matters like this, where the other country is involved, a big deal is involved, and everything. You see, it's important that things are done the right way. So our agencies, our government is committed to a fair, investigation, and it will go on. And 2G also, which Ghanshyam Tiwari talked about. The point is, 2G also, our approach was exactly the same. The point is that we do not want to take this thing and to use as a kind of political tool,
Sir,
and target some individuals. No, these are serious matters. These are serious matters.
Mr. Taneja, the evidence which is presented by your government's lawyers is not being accepted by courts, whether in India or the evidence which you were supposed to send to Italian courts is not being accepted. Then where is this thought? Where is the theory that you're giving me, sir? That we let law take its own course?
No. You see, Bhupen, let's not forget one thing. Let me go back to the same point which I was trying to make earlier. There is, the entire chain of the whole thing. The whole thing started before we came to power. And those documents and evidences produced in 2013, 2014 are very much the basis of the entire thing being used by the court in Italy.
Ilario,
you see, and that is also there. So whatever we provide, they also connect the dots.
Ilario,
and they go back to that also.
Ilario, can I just get this clear? That when it comes to investigations which were done in Italy and when it comes to investigations which were done in India, there seems to be a world of difference between what the courts in Italy are accepting and what is being suggested by the Indian agencies here. Is there a difference? Is there a difference in the narrative which is being put out by the Indian authorities, Indian agencies here, and what is being accepted by the Italian courts there in Italy?
I'm experiencing huge issues in understanding you. I'm sorry because the line is really poor. Perhaps you were asking me what does the Italian public opinion thinks about? I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. I just want to know what is the Italian authorities' final position on this. Are they convinced that this case is not a scam case?
I'm afraid to say that this is not a case the Italian media, Italian politics are really talking about since many months. Maybe the mainstream media, they are talking about only the first part, at the beginning of this huge and super long trial case. So now there is a new government, we have immigration
issues. So they moved on. No, my question was in the context of what was being perceived in Italian courts, whether the Italian judiciary believes that this is the final word. Rajiv Tyagi, final question to you, sir. Ghanshyam Tiwari says that this is also headed a 2G way. Narendra Taneja says, yes, we will ensure that investigations are done. Are you all absolutely confident that this Italian court judgment which has been given in this refusal of extradition, the statement which has been made by Christian Michel, is all this ultimately now going to build a narrative that maybe SP Tyagi was falsely implicated, maybe Julie Tyagi was falsely implicated in this case?
I really don't know.
Certainly, sir. Most certainly. If you look at, there is still a website of Ministry of Defence in February.
Yeah, go ahead, Tyagi ji, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Tyagi ji, go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead, sir.
February 2013, there is a website of Ministry of Defence which says that the decision to lower the height of this helicopter was taken at the Bajpayee ji's time. This was said so by Controller and Auditor General of India, Mr. S.K. Sharma, who was Joint Secretary Air, then Additional Secretary, then DG Acquisition, then Secretary Defence, who signed it. And this report was presented to Italian courts also. Defence procurement procedure was presented to Italian courts also. Now, in this, they clearly states we are charged for doing something which was done much earlier before my brother became an air chief. And in this so-called charge sheet, they do not even show one single evidence that we have ever met or influenced the air chief.
So bottom line is this, that was this just a politically motivated case? Was this just a politically motivated case? Taneja ji,
I don't know.
The cases were eased in 2005.
Mr. Chaube, these days it is so difficult to say what is politically motivated, what is for elections which is being done,
Right.
what's a fake news, what's a new news,
Let's be
what is
clear.
happening.
Let's
Can you
be
imagine
clear.
how can they
Let's be
extradite
clear.
Carlos
I
Agusta?
agree, I agree.
The court has found
One
him
can't hide
exonerated.
behind all this.
One can't hide behind all this, but then, Mr. Taneja, it is your party's responsibility, it is the government's responsibility to ensure that justice is done. Thank you so much to Ileana and Rajiv Tyagi for joining us on the first big story on the show. Ghanshyam Tiwari and Narendra Taneja are going to stay on with us for our second big story on the program tonight. It's election season. It's election season and are going to stay on with us for our second big story on the program tonight. It's election season. It's election season and every small little move which is made, whether it's corruption or it's on the religious polarization front, will be looked at very, very closely. We've looked at this corruption case, at least what was described to be a corruption case, which is the Agusta Westland so-called scam case. Now let's turn our focus to the other big story which we had been focusing on now for the last 24 hours. A young couple goes to a regional passport office in Lucknow. The couple happens to be an interfaith where the man is a Muslim and the woman is a Hindu. What happens when the two of them ask for a passport? Certain questions are raised by the regional passport officer. What do? The applicants upset with the regional passport officer for questioning them, decide to get onto Twitter, send a tweet to Sushma Swaraj, and lo and behold, Sushma Swaraj cracks the whip, the passport is handed over to them. Now comes the twist in the story. Was the couple really accurate in assessing the situation, in explaining the situation, or was the couple using social media and their own Muslim identity purely for their own benefit? That is our second big story on the program tonight. So Subramanian Swamy, who was on the program last night, demands the probe. Tonight it appears as if there could be genuine grounds indeed for us to look for that probe. What's the twist in this kahani? Let's run you through the critical points which seem to have changed in very, very dramatic manner in these last 24 hours. Twist number one. Tanvi Seth, the applicant in this case, she claimed discrimination by the passport officer Vikas Mishra. Now what happens after making this claim? In her Twitter complaint to Sushma Swaraj, Tanvi Seth claimed that Vikas misbehaved with her. Now having made this complaint and having got the passport, suddenly Tanvi Seth started making this point to some other journalists and individuals that actually it may not have been a case of religious polarization, religious bias. It was perhaps just a case of someone misbehaving with her. But now unwilling to answer any question which is being raised, what has she done? Maybe she's scared, maybe she doesn't want to face the media, so she's locked her Twitter account. Twist number two. Sushma Swaraj decides to help Tanvi Seth and Anas Siddiqui. The regional passport officer in Lucknow, what does he do? He immediately issues a passport. Vikas Mishra gets transferred, but BJP MP Subramanian Swamy comes on Viewpoint and outrightly said that I don't believe Tanvi and Anas, and I believe that since there was no CCTV cameras which were installed in that room where this conversation was taking place, therefore there is insufficient evidence to demand action against Vikas Mishra, the regional passport officer. He demands a probe. Twist number three, and this is very fascinating. Rajiv Tuli, senior RSS leader, looks after the RSS's communication wing. He puts out a tweet in the morning saying the couple was indeed playing the victim card. Then that tweet goes viral, but he suddenly changes his stand, speaks to CNN News 18 and says that this is not the RSS view, this is my own personal view. Twist number four, Anas Siddiqui claims Vikas Mishra asked him to change his faith and name. Vikas Mishra says that he never said anything like this. He said the couple is doing nothing else but peddling straightforward lies. The passport officer is now getting support on Twitter from various groups likes of Ashok Pandit, and various other WhatsApp groups have now gone viral saying, I stand with Vikas Mishra. Is Vikas Mishra telling us the truth or is the couple telling us the truth? Vikas Mishra has gone into hiding. The couple has locked its Twitter account. And where are we? We are left high and dry wondering where does the truth lie. Can we find out where does the truth lie? That's going to be the focus of our next big discussion on the program. Let me take a clear-cut position on that issue. And I'm not one who ever minces words when it comes to taking a position against bias on the basis of religion. I believe bias against religious minorities has been a harsh reality of global politics. In India, perhaps because of poor economic status, that bias has become more brutal. But claiming victimhood, I think, can also be a huge problem. If the applicants in the Lucknow passport case use their religion merely as a tool, I think it's the stand of the applicants which should be described as bigotry. That's where I stand. Let's raise the big blunt question on the program tonight. Should there be a probe in the passport bigotry case? Ghanshyam Tiwari is there with us of the Samajwadi Party. So is Narendra Taneja. Sanjay Jha representing the Congress. Dr. Geeta Bhatt, well-known academician, RSS supporter, is there with us as well. And Zafar Sareshwala, corporate voice, CEO, MD, Parsoli Corporation, speaks extensively on all Muslim issues, is live with us on the program as well. But first up on this debate, I just want to go to Rajiv Tuli. Rajiv ji is a well-known RSS leader, but today he's speaking purely in his capacity as an individual Indian citizen. So his viewpoint, he says, should not be looked at as the RSS's viewpoint. Rajiv ji, please explain to me what prompted you to put this tweet out in the morning that there should be a probe and maybe the couple was feeling victimhood.
There are a couple of things broken into it which I noticed. And one of them is the video that is, the video of Vikas Mishra, where he has spoken about certain points. Point number 2 is the way actually the passport has been issued. I believe, when I applied for a passport, there was a spelling mistake on my document. There was a spelling difference between the document that I submitted and the details I filled. My name is Rajeev, and the document that I submitted was Rajiv. So there was an objection to it, and I needed to give an explanation to the department. And the same way, probably the officer who was sitting me, he probed me on that. Why this difference and everything. But I didn't made any issue out of it. And in the due course, I went back, met the PRO, submitted my, I gave my submission, and my passport was issued after 15 days.
So what are you saying? Are you saying that because this couple has got a passport almost the next day, are you saying this passport has been issued in violation of the guidelines only because they raised the stink and they said that they were Muslims, they were interfaith couple and they were being harassed?
I don't know. That's why I just requested for a probe into it. If that passport manual has been violated, if that passport manual has been violated, then that officer concerned should be penalized. If not, and if if it is other way around, then the applicant should be penalized.
Then why are
my
you
only submission is that there should be a probe into it.
So you want a probe? You want a probe, Rajiv? Subramanian Swamy also wants a probe. Subramanian Swamy also wants a probe. So I
don't know. I have not seen Subramanian Swamy.
So I ask you that if you are so convinced about this, why are you then trying to make this distinction that this is your personal view, this is not the RSS's view? Could this be the RSS view also?
I don't know. If RSS have to say something, I as a concerned citizen of the country, passport is not a lollipop which can be given to a crying child to silent him. It is a security document. There are a lot of inquiries happening into it before the issuance. There is a LIU inquiry that happens. There is a local CID inquiry that happens. Everything has been bypassed and the passport. It apparently seems that everything has been bypassed and the passport has been issued.
Okay.
There are thousands of passports being issued every day in the country. But nobody, even if the objection is there, nobody does this press conferences and nobody shows
So you are saying this is victimhood. Rajiv ji, can I just ask you to hold on for a moment? Just hold on for a moment. I know you're on the phone and it will be difficult for you to do that, but Ghanshyam Tiwari vigorously is in disagreement with what you're saying. Ghanshyam.
Well, Rajiv ji, a simple question. If you ask the passport of Mr. Yogi Adityanath, what name would you see on it? Ajay Singh Best or Yogi Adityanath? A very, very simple question to you. On the passport of Mr. Yogi Adityanath, what name would you like to see? Yogi Adityanath or Ajay Singh Best?
Okay.
My simple submission, I don't want to go into any argument with anybody on this.
Okay.
Whether it is Ghanshyam Tiwari or any XYZ
But
Tiwari
you are
or
saying
Mishra.
probe.
I
You are
don't want to go into any argument with anybody on this.
Okay.
But this is my simple.
So going for a
my
probe.
simple submission as
Your
a
submission is
concerned
I am
citizen
here
of
for a
the
hit and run
country
debate. I will
that
speak my points and
everything should be,
not take questions.
Once it has come into public domain,
Okay.
there should be an inquiry.
There should
और
be
दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी होना
तो
चाहिए.
दूध
That's
का
what-
दूध
that
पानी
is
का
the
पानी
only
कैसे
thing I want
होगा?
to say.
अच्छा तुली जी, थैंक यू. आप कहते हैं आप आर्गुमेंट में नहीं पढ़ना चाहते. I'll give you that leeway. You don't want to get into that argument. No point, no problem there. But but Geeta Bhatt is there as well.
Mr. Tulis appeared almost as a passport expert. He may not.
Thank you, Rajiv ji.
He may not know the rules that were changed, the new norms that require or do not require marriage certificate. What bearing does it have? There are many people who have different names for nikah nama. There are people who have different date of birth, real date of birth. The fact is that what do the rules say? How did the ministry follow up?
There is a different way to look at this. There's a different way to look. I want to go to Geeta Bhatt on that one and then to Sanjay Jha, who's been listening to this conversation. Geeta ji, if I was to say that actually what is going on when Rajiv Tiwari when Rajiv Tuli puts this tweet out and says that this is my personal view, when Subramaniam Swamy comes in and demands a probe, if I was to say that actually what is going on is this is testing the waters which is taking place. The RSS, the BJP perhaps wants to test the waters to see whether this can be converted into a case, into a story of a so-called victimhood complex which is being practiced by the Muslim community. Would that be a right way to look at it, Geeta ji?
Bhupenji, see, as I see it personally, I would like to put my viewpoint here.
Yes.
And that is that, it is rather unfortunate that a certain section of our society and our polity, they have, of course, due to their vested interest, have time and again tried to, build up a narrative which results into fear in our society. And fear is one emotion which can be very detrimental on the social fabric of any community. Now, you see, we have to look at large, as you are talking about victimhood. So we have to actually look at a larger perspective rather than as an individual case.
What is the larger perspective?
I would like to
what is the larger
point of
perspective?
view.
Please tell me.
No, the larger perspective is there are many such cases where such kind of things have happened. Like, for example, a girl called Rafia Naz in Jharkhand wanted to teach yoga, but the fundamentalists, they were threatening her for their life because she wanted to practice yoga.
So it's both
Today
ways.
only there has been a news where there is an actress who is now being challenged by the fundamentalists just because she participated in the International Yoga
My
Day,
point
and
is,
she belongs to the minority community. And there has been many such cases.
Yeah.
There are many such cases
Zafar
which can be
Sareshwala.
listed. It
Zafar
happened in Mumbai.
Zafar ji, the truth is
It
that
happened in Mumbai.
we spend so much time trying to look at what has gone on, the so-called bias which exists against Muslims, and in many parts I'm agreeing that it does exist. But look at this case. Would I be right if I was to say that maybe we've been unfair with Vikas ji? Maybe we've not given him a chance. There should be a probe. Would you support that demand for a probe just to figure out what really went on? Did he violate the manual? Did he really misbehave with the applicants? Because both sides have now suddenly gone into radio silence mode, Zafar Sareshwala.
See, this is very unfortunate, Bhupen. It was a very trivial issue. And millions of Muslims are going for their passports. And they get the passport. More or less, there are, yes, maybe some very small instances of discrimination, but overall in the country I have not come across a pattern of discrimination. But I have a larger issue here, Bhupen. This is a very small thing. When somebody is talking of victimhood, in fact I have been talking to the Muslim communities for last so many years that you come out of the victim-centric mentality.
Is this an example of victim-centric mentality?
2002 riot victims.
Is this an example according to you?
We need to come out. If
Is this an example? Is this an example according to you, Zafar ji?
What I am saying is, we need to forget. Like, for example, 2002. You know, Bhupen, you have covered there, you have been there, you have sat with me in Ahmedabad. My contention to the Muslim community is just draw the line.
Okay.
and go ahead. And with the governments of the day, my only contention is don't do anything, build schools, primary and secondary schools in Muslim dominated areas. For God's sake, we have more police stations than schools. So for me, this is a small isolated case.
It may be
but
a small
I'm talking
isolated
of the
case.
larger picture.
Sanjay Jha,
to
is this
bring
an
out
isolated
this
case?
victimhood mentality.
Sanjay Jha, is
you
this an
build
isolated
more
case?
and more schools
Look
in
at-
the
look
Muslim
at-
localities.
look at the two
Muslims
contrarian
don't
viewpoints.
have banks,
Look at two
schools,
contrarian
health
viewpoints.
centers.
Geeta Bhatt tells us that Muslims are regressive, so any Muslim who wants to be progressive ends up being targeted by their own community members. I look at this passport case as a great example.
No.
Maybe of a Muslim, or maybe of a Muslim couple.
I would like to, that's
One more,
not what I was trying to say.
One more. But Sanjay Jha, you know, my fundamental argument is this today, because I'm looking at how quickly the facts seem to be changing. Could it be, Sanjay Jha, that indeed we still don't know what the facts are, and therefore everyone has jumped the gun?
Bhupender, let me tell you, it's a ridiculous proposition, and I'm saying this with utmost responsibility. For anyone to believe that a young married couple will fabricate such an allegation against one individual purely because of the whole fantasy of grabbing public spotlight or, you know, playing victimhood. I think, you know, this is what I call as the typical conspiracy theory mindset of the RSS and the BJP and the extreme right wing. You know, they even want to investigate whether Nathuram Godse killed Mahatma Gandhi. I mean, these guys are capable of bizarre fantasies to, you know, change the political narrative. This is how fascists work all over the world. Now, I can tell you one thing for a fact. I was hearing the gentleman, I don't know what his name was, who said the Muslims must come out of it. Well, you know, why doesn't he go and tell, you know, Zakia Jafri, whose husband got roasted alive in the Gujarat riots, to get on with it? If it's so easy, get on with it, sure. Her husband got brutally murdered by a mob when he was asking for help. Please go and tell Zakia Jafri, it's no big deal. It's okay. It's 12, 15 years. Get on with it. You know, what is the truth? The truth is that today, since Narendra Modi became Prime Minister, and everybody knows that the BJP is a puppet in the hands of Mohan Bhagwat's Nagpur, they are promoting the Hindutva culture in India.
They're promoting
and this is the larger game
So
plan.
is this
It
an
always
example?
was. You
Now
know
must
it.
get Taneja ji.
Bhupendra.
I must-
I
I
have
must-
respect for you.
Taneja ji,
That
Taneja.
development was always nothing but a very smart facade.
I must say
nothing
this.
else.
I picked up. Yes, Taneja ji, I'm coming to you. Taneja ji, I'm coming to you.
It was
The
always a
reason why I
50-cent
picked
joke.
up this story today is because we spent the whole program yesterday trying to understand whether this was an example of bigotry which is anyways being practiced in multiple parts of the country. Now the reason why I'm still staying with the story is because there are new developments in this case which seem to be pointing out that maybe we still don't know the facts. So Taneja ji, Sanjay Jha is saying this is nothing else but a great example of how a society gets damaged, something we spoke about yesterday. But my point is this a fit case? Is a fit case for a probe according to you?
Bhupen, I listened very carefully, very attentively to the spokesman of the party which is demanding independence of Kashmir. They want independence of Kashmir. So I can understand whatever they say is just nothing but to support their idea of independence of Kashmir.
Listen,
so they only want their
Taneja,
interest in
cut out the
independence of
rubbish.
Kashmir, and we want, and Sanjay Jha, we won't let this happen. Sanjay Jha, you will never succeed in your mission, independence Kashmir. You will never succeed.
1 minute,
Now let me
apologize.
speak.
Where has my party
Let me
said
speak.
it? No, you answer me. Where has my party said it or you
Your
apologize?
leader,
So, Bhupendra,
Mr.
1 minute.
Soz.
I will not
Your
let
leader,
him get
Mr.
away with
Soz.
irresponsible
Your
propaganda.
leader, Mr.
Where
Soz.
has the
Your
Congress
leader,
party
Mr.
said
Ghulam
it?
Nabi
You apologize.
Azad. That's
You
your
apologize.
mission.
Where
They
has
are
the
the
Congress party said
architect
it?
of your Kashmir policy.
Yeah, excuse me,
They
Taneja,
are the
don't try to be
ones.
clever,
Your
Baba.
party is,
Listen,
your party is
पहले
asking for
दुनिया को
independence
जवाब
of
दो यार कि वो
Kashmir.
पैसे
Your
कहाँ से
leader,
गए उस बैंक में?
your leader, Mr.
That's where
Soz.
politics comes
Your
in.
leader,
See,
Mr.
that's where
Soz.
politics comes in.
Cut
That's
out
where
the
politics
Mr.
comes in.
Soz.
That's
Your
cut out
leader,
the
Mr.
rubbish.
Soz.
Yeah,
You want independence. We won't let you succeed.
Taneja ji.
Sanjay Jha, you will never succeed.
But
He hasn't
Taneja,
answered your question.
Taneja
You will
ji,
never succeed,
my
Sanjay
point
Jha.
is, Narendra ji, is
1.3
exactly
billion
this.
Indians won't let
My
you
point is
succeed.
exactly this, Taneja.
Now coming to the point.
Is that the political narrative?
What you are.
Is that the political
अरे
narrative?
जवाब नहीं है तो
Is
चुप
that the
बैठो
political
यार.
narrative, Taneja ji?
अरे जवाब नहीं है
Link
तो
everything.
चुपचाप बैठो.
Link everything.
Listen,
Is that the
the
political
point is
narrative?
as far as the
Yeah, let him answer.
पढ़ लिख कर आओ, पढ़ लिख कर आओ.
Sanjay, let him
नहीं.
answer. Sanjay, let him answer.
Bhupen ji.
Yes, Taneja ji. Yes.
You see the
He's a brazen liar.
Bhupen ji,
No,
the
listen,
point
he
is
has to
here
apologize
is the
for saying that the
passport.
Congress party has
Your
said.
leaders
No,
are
don't make
your
personal
leaders are
problem.
If
liars.
it doesn't
You're
have
saying
Don't make personal
you're saying
problem.
Ghulam
apologize
Nabi
now.
Azad is a liar.
You will have
You
to
are saying Mr.
apologize
Ghulam
now
Nabi
on the
Azad is a
channel.
liar.
You are only
Sanjay
giving
Jha,
me-
you are
I
a
don't want an
liar.
apology
You are a
tomorrow. You
liar.
have to
You are liar
apologize
number
now.
one. You are a liar.
Taneja, you will have to
you
apologize.
want
You
succeed
can't
in
is
your
not,
mission
sir,
to
that's,
succeed.
sir, that's
TV.
exactly
You will not
the
succeed
political,
in mission
that's
to
exactly the
independence
political
succeed.
point.
Sanjay
That's
Jha,
the culture of
you,
your pathetic
you
I
are
will have to
will
hold
never
you both.
succeed,
Then
Sanjay Jha.
My point is,
You will
Ghanshyam,
never
is this
succeed,
not,
Sanjay Jha, in
is
your
this
mission
not
independence
exact, see what Taneja ji is saying. And my point is, and see how Sanjay Jha is responding, is this not exactly how the political template, how both RSS, BJP and maybe to an extent the Congress, everyone wants to play this political template. The RSS and BJP maybe want the country, want people to look at the minority community
only the RSS
with suspicion.
and the BJP.
And the Congress wants to continue harping on this point and the BJP is discriminating against
But the
us.
bigger question is what is
Just
happening
look
to the
at the
people. Right now,
statement
as
by
we speak
Mr.
on the
Soos.
social media, there is this wild campaign that is going on where people from right-wing trolls, a lot of them, are tagging the US Embassy and saying that Tanvi Seth has applied for an H1 visa on the previous name and this passport controversy is about that. So when you open the boundaries, an entire establishment starts taking on Tanvi Seth with US visa. She's just a simple citizen wanting her passport. And that's what they are complaining. This is the group that kept quiet. When CIA said Bajrang Dal is a
So everything is
terrorist
politics
organization,
now.
VHP is
So
a
has
terrorist
she also,
organization.
let's say,
These people have double standards. They are ready to
Has
they are
Tanvi
ready to
Seth
target
also-
citizens.
There are two
They are ready to
Congress
target
Tanvi
the
Seth
citizens.
also ended up becoming. Yeah, Taneja ji,
And you are not giving me time to speak.
Sir, no, you have
There are
all the
two
time.
Congress
Sir,
spokes.
you have all the
give
time.
me
Sir,
30 seconds.
Yes, I'm coming to
On the-
Taneja ji.
on the
I'm just trying to,
on the passport issue.
I'm just trying to flag off that is
On the
this
passport
where the
issue.
political discourse has crept in? That this is not about passport anymore. This is about two communities. And what Ghanshyam is saying, to try and say that look, this interfaith couple which cried wolf over last 2 days, this interfaith couple, actually the story may be something else. And the BJP, as you were just doing, linking what Ghulam Nabi Azad has said or Saifuddin Soos has said, it suits your political narrative also. Is that where the story is headed?
Before
Narendra?
Taneja ji comes in, I want to make just one simple statement. The
No,
narrative of this
Bhupen ji,
story,
let's hear.
very quick one, Taneja ji. Before, just one sentence.
One sentence.
The narrative
Give
of
me
this
that.
was till yesterday was a citizen
Why are you
stood up
letting
and
Ghanshyam
demanded
Tiwari
One more,
monopolize
Taneja
her
ji,
rights
hear him out,
and hijack the
Taneja ji.
debate?
Hear him out, hear
Ghanshyam
him out,
Tiwari
hear him
has
out.
hijacked the debate.
No, he's not. Wait.
Citizen stood up
Mr.
and
Tiwari
demanded
has
her
hijacked
rights.
the debate.
Sushma
What is
Swaraj
this?
as a responsible minister
I mean,
in
he's a
government
Congress
acted on her
spokesperson.
rights.
Okay.
And
Sanjay
today,
Jha is
now
both
that
Congress
citizen is
spokesperson.
trolled by people who have no accountability.
Now respond. The political narrative which is being built by the BJP, Taneja ji.
No. You see, the point is here were the two
They are a
applicants, they
hardcore
applied for the
communal
passport.
party.
Minister of External Affairs, Minister of External Affairs intervened and they got their passport. I think we should close the chapter now, close the matter. As far as if they were doing anything and all that is for Ministry of External Affairs to look into that aspect. These people who are like, these red wine leftists, they want to politicize everything, criminalize everything.
Who's criminalizing?
Because they don't have any other issue.
But look
We
at
are
what,
not
look at
interested
your
in
own
that.
statement.
Criminalize.
But
This
your
is
own
what
statement.
which our Congress is doing.
Taneja ji, what
this
did
is
you say?
Ghanshyam Tiwari is doing.
Taneja ji,
They
what
want
are
to
you saying?
criminalize because their politics is criminal politics.
Taneja ji, but what are you doing? See, you
What-
are also
all I'm saying
linking.
is-
You're also linking what Ghulam Nabi Azad is saying and Saifuddin Soos is saying to what has happened in the passport case.
Your
And then you say
entire
let's put a
existence
let's
is
put a
based
lid on
on
this.
the religious
No, Bhupen, I'm
polarization,
not
my
linking.
friend.
You
They
are
said
linking-
clearly.
What?
They both said, Mr. Soos, he's saying this for independence of Kashmir.
Yes.
He's saying in his book.
Yes,
he's
he's
given
saying
the
that.
interview.
But how is
Mr.
it linked?
Ghulam Nabi is
How is it
calling
linked to what is
whatever
going on
armed
in
forces are
Lucknow?
doing in massacre.
How is it linked to what's going on in Lucknow, Taneja ji?
No. No, it is no. I was only replying to the nonsense that Congress spokesperson was talking.
Nonsense.
He was not talking on the passport issue. Okay. He was talking this and that and all. So I was just replying to that because Mr. Sanjay Jha
Bhupen,
is
let
known
me
for
let
it.
him get
Other
away
Congress
with blue murder.
spokesperson,
Yeah.
Mr. Tiwari is also known for it.
Mr. Tiwari is also known
There are
for
two
it.
Congress spokesperson
But
on your debate. not one.
Zafar Sareshwala, please tell me, you've seen the political response from Sanjay Jha. You're looking at the political response from Narendra Taneja. Is this not an out-and-out political case? Is this not an out-and-out political story where both sides are now using this to suggest that the other side is more biased? Zafar Sareshwala, is that not the reality?
Yes, this is the sad reality. In fact, when the passport was issued, that chapter was closed. But look at the gentleman from Congress party. They want to thrive on Muslims' miseries. He didn't go for once to Mr. Ahsan Jafri. Ahsan Jafri is my uncle.
Bhupen, you need to
Who is
tell
he
your
talking
viewers
to?
that this
I am the
gentleman is
biggest
very
victim of
sympathetic and
2002
close to
riot.
Narendra
I don't
Modi.
want to be a victim
We
like
need
him.
to put
And
that
I don't want
caption at the
these people
bottom.
to thrive on
This
my
man is
misery.
not an
I
independent
don't want
voice.
them
This
to
man
make
is not
my
an
misery as their
independent
ornament.
voice. He
You
is
have seen
sympathetic to
that
Narendra Modi.
The moment
Everybody
something
knows
happens to
it.
Muslims,
He should
these
put that as a
people come
tagline below his
and
name.
thrive on miseries of the Muslims. So this is what we have seen. One party wants to make the Muslims the victimhood.
We all know that.
You know,
You are
that
working
they
for
must be
independence of
victimhood,
Kashmir.
and
You
one
should be
party wants
ashamed.
to
You
thrive
should be
in
ashamed.
their misery.
Sanjay
This
Jha,
is
you
the
should
third
be
part.
ashamed.
One by one,
Statement
one by one. See,
on Kashmir.
one by one,
I mean,
one by
you
one.
are calling our
One by
armed
one.
forces. You are
Gita Bhatt,
insulting
Gita
our
Bhatt,
armed
Gita Bhatt,
forces.
Gita Bhatt, Gita
You
Bhatt.
should be ashamed.
I'm only Gita Bhatt trying to understand.
Acha, listen, Taneja, I don't want to waste your time on your outrageous nonsense. I don't know why to waste my time on the nonsense uttered by Taneja.
But
But
what you are talking?
Saraswala,
Why
his
are you
name,
defending
he's
Mr.
by the
Sood?
way a sympathetic
Why are you
to
defending
Modi.
Mr. Sood?
He may be.
Why are
Everybody
you
knows,
defending
We all know.
everybody knows
Why are
he's
you
a
defending Mr.
BJP
Ghulam Nabi
man.
Azad on
Ye
his
kya- why is
statement?
he
It's
coming
not a
and trying
crime to
to
be a
sound
BJP
very
man.
independent, dispassionate and
It's not a-
neutral?
it's not a crime.
अरे बोलो यार, हिम्मत है तो बोलो
Much
ना.
like it's
मैं
not a
नरेंद्र
crime to
मोदी
be
का
with
मैं
the Congress,
भक्त
it's
हूँ.
not a crime to
और
be with
उसके
the
बाद
BJP.
बोला बयानबाजी
It's
करो.
not a crime to be on
उसके
either
बाद
side.
प्रवचन
Stop
देना.
your nonsense.
अरे क्यों
Stop
चुप
your
के बोलते
crap.
हो? खुलेआम बोलो.
You know, Sanjay Jha,
बोलो
you only
कैसे
talk
बोलो?
crap, nothing else.
पर इसकी छाती खोल के बोलो.
You are
Gita Bhatt,
defending
can I
what you
just
should not
ask
be
you one
defending.
simple point?
You are
Gita ji,
defending what you
only
should not
Gita
be
Bhatt, only Gita Bhatt. Gita ji, very quickly, final 30 seconds to you. Do you
Bhupen
believe
ji.
this template, is this the
Right.
political template that we're looking at? Majority versus minority. People, ordinary citizens are all tweeting away that Sushma Swaraj, please help us. People saying I stand with Vikas, people saying I stand with this Muslim couple. That's what the story is now between majority and minority. Is that what was the intention of the political parties of the RSS, whether it's Rajiv Tuli or anyone else?
Bhupenji, see, just to push a certain political agenda, you know, hate and bigotry have become the most misused word. Unnecessarily, a binary is being, you know, there has been this artificial binary which is being tried to be created by a lot of politicians like Mr. Jha. You know, he somehow has got a short memory where he cannot remember that how there was a person called, example, Prashant Pujari, how he was murdered in Bangalore, how Rudresh was murdered in Bangalore, you know, how there are so many RSS BJP workers who have been murdered in West Bengal, in Kerala. He cannot speak about them.
No, but you will accuse Congress. Congress will accuse you.
But on this issue, no, I am not accusing
You will
anyone.
accuse
All I
Congress.
am
What
saying
cherry
is
picking are you
that
doing?
let
What
us not-
selective
let us
amnesia
as
do you develop?
responsible
But to your
citizens,
viewers, I want to
let
make one
us
final
not
point.
respond-
Suddenly
let
you
us
are
not
worried
respond
about
to
the
citizens
people
of
of
the
Bangalore.
country.
Anyone who's
And not
tweeting, I
create a
support
binary.
Vikas Mishra,
There
I
are
support
standalone
Tanvi Seth. The
cases.
fact is,
There are
if
cases
you are
like
tweeting
that
because you are
of Miss
standing about
Kadri in
Hindu
Mumbai.
religion or
There was
something
a
else,
lady who
right?
accused
Tanvi
that
Seth
she
is
was
also
not
a
getting
Hindu and
a
Vikas
flat
Mishra
in
is
Mumbai.
I'm
But the
only
story
saying
was
that
totally
this is a
different
story
later
about
on.
Indian
I mean, there are
citizens.
so many standalone.
Gita Bhatt, Taneja, Zafar Saraswala, Sanjay Jha,
Please,
Ghanshyam Tiwari,
don't
thank you
try
so
to-
much.
don't
Thank you
try
so much
to
for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me on Viewpoint. I'm only trying to say that this was a story about Indian citizens. I would like to say that a young Indian couple decided to get on to Twitter, appealed to an Indian minister seeking help, and the Indian minister helped an Indian couple. Why are we trying to convert this story? Why are politicians trying to look at this as an interfaith couple crying victimhood? Why are people tweeting? Whether it's your individual opinion or your organization's opinion, the truth is if you tweet, if you say that this is a couple which is crying victimhood, then you are demanding a probe, then you are trying to create a certain political template, and that political template, that political narrative is exactly what some political parties want to practice their politics on. Let's do a short break. On the other side, who should be described as the big hero of the day? Should we be describing Vikas Mishra, this passport officer in Lucknow, perhaps as what? As the hero of the day? Or is he still the villain of the piece for making the kind of comments which he's supposed to have made? Answers on the other side of the short break.